Hello, my name is Keiana Burch. I am presenting a marketing consultation paper for JGJ Incorporated for the biodegradable plastic bags industry. The biodegradable plastic bag market has a global production of 1% of the entire global plastics production. Biodegradable plastic bags are being demanded more by millennials who are known to be more environmentally conscious and demanding of natural products. They are becoming the social or societal earners and focusing more on businesses that are environmentally friendly, environmentally conscious, who recycle and are invested in the environment. In 2020, the global revenue for biodegradable plastic bags was $215.08 million US, with an expected growth of $330.11 million US by the year 2026, with a compound annual growth rate of 7.53 adjusted for COVID-19 related barriers and persisting as we are still in the midst of this global pandemic. On average, the price of biodegradable carrier bags is about $15 per bag. That price does vary by the type of biodegradable plastics that are being used. For JGJ, we are focusing on plastic bags manufactured using the starch-based polylactic acid bioplastics as a point of differentiation. We're choosing a plastic that has a shorter time for decomposition, so it breaks down more quickly in the earth once you dispose of it correctly. The polylactic acid packaging can be combustible, so you can put it even in your at home combustible garbage, or you can even bury it in the garden and let it decompose. And it's also cheaper than other types of packaging, other types of bioplastic packaging. It is food safe, so you can use it for food related bags, and the market is not oversaturated, which gives us an entry into the market. Starch-based polylactic plastics, as you can see from the dot in the graph, is highly combustible and is a low cost compared to other types of plastic. But we will focus on different industries where JGJ can be competitive. Considering food related bags, again, because it's not oversaturated, we can focus on smaller artisan companies that focus on environmentally friendly packaging, like vegan carriers and other small bakeries and food producers. It's more it's more affordable, so it can be competitive against traditional um, standard plastics, since many customers are focused on affordability and the quality of the products. And we also want to focus on the fact that the perception of bioplastics is that they are not as durable as regular plastics. So using the polylactic acid plastics will also show our customers that they can have a long use of the plastic and it has a long shelf life. As you see from this graph, flexible packaging has a high market attraction and high market growth. It's expected to be the top investment pocket owing to its inherent costs and multiple advantages with lightweight plastic bags, pouches, and food for non-food industries. So consider cotton balls and bread, little candy pouches, and hair tie bags, which people use. Also considering consumer goods, it also has a relatively high market attractiveness and a relatively high market growth. And these are the industries in which we will focus more on at JGJ. So flexible packaging for consumer goods in the US, the packaging market is about $24 billion in 2016 and $98 billion globally. Plastic packaging makes up about 40% of the plastics industry, so if we can focus on that industry, we can take a chunk of that market and advertise towards the millennial consumers. The market for consumer packaged goods has a compound annual growth rate of 1.8% and a growth in 2020 was 6.4%. The growth of the CPG industry is an indicator that the necessity for high volume and packaging demand will result in greater need for plastic packaging. There is an expectation for a decrease in demand at the end of COVID-19, because at this moment people are individually packaging everything to be safe from COVID, but as that pandemic wears off, the need for individual packaging will decrease. But the consumer packaged good was 10.4% at the height of COVID. It's expected to decrease, but it's still expected to be fairly healthy and grow. Flexible packaging for food service. Starch-based plastics have a high growth in usage in flexible packaging. It's expected to expand in the food industry. The demand for flexible packaging in the food industry is about 3.2% in the US. Starch-based bioplastics has a compounded annual growth rate of about 1.4% to the year 2023. conservatively, we do have to consider the effects of COVID. Currently, uh, the global production capacity of bioplastics is about 18% for starch mixtures and 10% for polylactic acid. So that will hinder the growth of JGJ. The global production capacity limits are determined based on market demand for starch-based polylactic acid products. The ability to grow is limited, as I said, by the production capacity. But with increases in technological advances in bioplastic processing and manufacturing, production rates are expected to increase and the costs of production are expected to decrease. As you can see, uh, the biodegradable and compostable bags and packaging have a relatively high tensile strength, so they will be able to be reused. But the combustibility of the PLA package shows that after 18 months with exposure to air, the packaging will be fully combustible, which is an attractive quality for a lot of the environmentally conscious consumer. The promotion and pricing strategy is a cost-based strategy. We're going to consider energy consumption and land costs, fixed and variable costs, the price of the polymer resin, which is based on the price of feedstock, because these are made out of starch-based plants, and also delivery costs. The promotional strategy will use his advertising in industry-related magazines, advertising in white papers, which are usually educational but also have in-text promotions as well, and also face-to-face public relations, especially at industry conventions. So with our distribution type, we're going to focus on direct and indirect distribution. We do want to have some control of the relationship with the customers. It's going to depend on the size of the customer. For larger customers, we will consider direct distribution. It allows them lower costs, and it's very good for the price sensitive customer. For the smaller companies, the artisans, we are going to provide a indirect distribution for access, speed, and capital efficiency. This will allow them to have their specific packaging, but it will take away from the control of the customer, but it will open up larger channel and more access to customers. The EPA defines biodegradable as not toxic, no carcinogens, no mutagens, no intoxicants that affect reproductive systems, and no surfactants. According to U.S. CFR Section 260, we cannot say our products are biodegradable or compostable or non-toxic if they are not. We have to follow the EPA guidelines of biodegradability, In the European Union, they have the EU Packaging and Packaging Waste Directive that also contains language to determine what is compostable and what is biodegradable. So we will have to consider those guidelines when choosing to manufacture if we want to certify our products as being biodegradable and attracting that market.